You're listening to A Splash More, where we have honest conversations with women who refuse to shrink and aren't afraid to want more. So grab your glass. It's time for A Splash More. I'm sitting here with Bridget Condon. She is a national reporter for the NFL. And I say that because you've sort of like built your career, not even like through the local channels necessarily, right? You kind of like went right through into the national space, and you're working for the NFL Network now. And you've had a pretty like good long run for being so young.
Yeah, I've been with the NFL Network. I just finished my 5th season. Before that, I was working in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's how I met your cousin, Sarah.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
And then Charlottesville, Virginia before that. Went to James Madison University in Virginia. So This is my first stop out west. And now after 5 years, I can say it feels like home. But it takes a little bit of time coming from the East Coast to kind of get in your routine out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, we both are from Boston. You're from Boston, right? Or like at least the New England area.
Yep. Outside of Boston.
And also, you know, we were saying before, just coming out here without family and you starting your own family, which is a big part of what I want to talk about today. Definitely like your space as a woman in a very male-dominated field, and not just like a male-dominated field, because, right, like I feel like sports reporting in itself is male-dominated. But then, like, I feel like the NFL is even more male-dominated, and maybe I'm just making that up because it feels like such a, like, bro-y sport. But is that accurate in
Totally.
saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, in press box, I always joke because there's never a line for the women's bathroom, whereas the men, like, the line is so long because there's so many more male reporters that are at games than women reporters, which it's changed drastically over the last 10 years, and there are more women occupying those spaces, but definitely not the same number as the men.
Yeah, I could see it being a perk, I guess. There's probably some perks to being
no bathroom line.
No bathroom line, especially for some of those like bigger games and stuff. I'm sure
when you got to go like do your makeup quick or like something.
Pump.
Yeah, exactly.
Pump, which I saw a lot of your content. I mean, I can't even imagine like knowing what it was like to go through it on my own as just a mom, you know, living her life and being home and whatnot, and just seeing you go through that first year through your content, you know, pumping and staying. I was like, how is this girl? I could barely make it 6 months just like doing it from my house, like on the, you know, the couch. So how did you do that?
Honestly, it was a fever dream. Someone just asked me about this where I had to like reflect on what this past year had been like, and just detailing some of the stories. I thought to myself, wait, this wasn't real. Like, how did I make it through a year, an entire NFL season? Just, you know, starting at training camp, I went back to work after I had my baby at the end of February. So I went back to work end of July. So about 5 months postpartum. And I remember being at training camp. That was my first time having to pump at work. So it wasn't that I went back to work and I was in an office building and in a pumping room, which we have an amazing pump room at NFL Network, but I was on the field. And I remember specifically being at Seahawks training camp. And it was one of those instances where like the NFL is structured, but practices can run long. Like things change. So the time isn't always accurate. So I remember trying to calculate. And at this point, I was still going just 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I never had a big supply. So in order to get what I needed to give her, I had to religiously pump every 2 hours. And so I was at this practice and I pumped before practice and I was like, okay, like I can make it a little bit longer than 2 hours. I'm going to just not pump during practice. We were interviewing the head coach, Mike McDonald, after practice. And I remember practice ran long and I just remember like feeling myself getting engorged. So and I was like, what do I do? And when that happens, for anyone who's never breastfed or had a baby, the only thoughts in your head are, okay, my boobs are feeling full. I need to get rid of this. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Meanwhile, I'm trying to come up with questions to ask like an NFL coach.
Of course.
So I was like, practice just kept getting longer, and I'm asking like, hey, do we think this is going to be like 5 minutes? Is it going to be 20 minutes? And they were like, like, I think it's going to be longer. So I was like, okay, I just put on my mobile pumps right there on the set, on the sideline of practice, and started pumping, and practice ends. And I'm like, oh my God. So there I am, like taking out my pumps, milk flying everywhere. Cause at this point I hadn't got it down. Like now I can do it with my eyes shut.
Yeah, you're
But
good.
this was the first time, and milk flying everywhere. And Mike McDonald is walking over, and I'm like, oh my God, my hand's like, I can't shake his hand. Like there's milk on my hand. It's sticky. And I just had to like switch really quickly to be like, hey, like, and like think about what I was asking him. And when I'm my own worst critic, right? As we all are. And I remember being back at work. That was my first week or 2 weeks back, really struggling because I was like, am I not good at this anymore? And it was really hard to, you know, you're leaving home, you're away from your baby, and I'm feeling guilty about that. And then I'm going back doing a job I love, but I'm feeling like I'm not good at this anymore.
Right.
My mind isn't here. It was such a hard adjustment. And obviously I pushed through, and I'm so glad that I did, but it was hard.
I know you love your job. And
Yeah.
I know that you feel so like fortunate and lucky to have it, and all of the things that like we're supposed to say. And I know that you, and I know that you actually believe that too. Like you can see the joy in your work. But it just sucks that you have to say that, right? Like
I just like think about, was it Erin Andrews when she was talking about traveling or something, and it went viral for the wrong reasons, and people are like, you should feel, it was either Erin or Carissa on their podcast. And yeah, like that's a fear. And I think too, because I've worked so hard to get this job, that there's more pressure to not complain or not say that, hey, I miss my daughter.
Yes.
And I don't know if sharing those feelings is the right thing to do. Sometimes I post it and I'm like, maybe I should delete this.
No.
Because it's true. Like so many people would love to be it is the thing about being a sports reporter, and especially a female sports reporter, it is so competitive.
Yes.
Because there's not enough seats for us. And so every single person is trying to get to the national level. And I know there are women who like probably saw me get pregnant thinking, oh,
here's my opportunity.
And I don't want also, like, I was scared of that too. I don't want to go out on maternity leave or have a baby and then people just assume like, oh, she's just going to stay at home with their kids, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I never dreamed of that for me. So it's just been so interesting having to like really sit with all the different feelings that I have of, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I love doing this, but oh my God, I miss my baby.
Yes.
And oh my God, am I doing the right thing by leaving her home with someone else?
Yes.
Am I doing the right thing by not watching her develop? You know, people say you only have 2 or 3 years and then they grow up, they go to school. Okay, should I be stepping away from my career for these moments? It's like a battle every day, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
I do. And there's so many like moments where I've thought the same thing. And I'm 2 kids in now, and my second child is 14 months at this point. And she just started walking, and, you know, she's been like learning how to walk over the last couple of months. I also saw you post something about Ava learning how to walk. So cute. But she hadn't like really taken those like first real steps. Like she had taken a couple of like little toddles between me and my husband, and, you know, a few things here and there. And then yesterday I'm like sitting, working on my computer. She's with the nanny, and she sends me a video of her taking like some real full steps at the library. And it was like the weirdest feeling.
I know.
Because with my son, so the other thing I wanted to mention is you talked about like this fear of like going out on maternity leave and potentially like someone stepping in or like losing your job because of it. I did lose my job when I was on maternity leave, which is a wild.
It's just horrible that that still happens in 2025, 2026.
Insane. So I was working for a really big entertainment company. I try not to say the name of it. Everyone can put 2 and 2 together once they like learn anything about me. But I was
I'm sorry, by the way.
Thank you.
That's terrible.
I, you know, it was part of a giant pool of layoffs. And so I was able to like fall into this weird loophole. But I was supposed to go back on a Monday and on Wednesday. So the Wednesday before, I got a call. So it was literally like 3 working days before I was supposed to go back. So when you're talking, so it can happen anywhere, I guess is my point. And just saying that like it's not just in these positions where you think that like there's only so many seats and I should be lucky to have it. It can happen in any type of career. It can happen anywhere, and it does happen. And I don't say that to scare people, because look at me now, right? Like when things like that happen in our lives, and I'm so glad that it didn't happen to you, like nobody deserves that. But when they happen in our lives, it's easy to get like so upset and like down and like feel like everything is falling apart in those moments. And looking back on it, it allowed me the space to like be with my son a little bit longer. So I didn't miss those first like real steps. And I'm not saying that like either is right or wrong.
Right.
It's just like I can see it from both sides. So no, you're not doing the wrong thing. And if you are, it'll make sense to you. If you feel at some point that like this is not right and I'm missing something, you'll make that decision. Your instincts are like already kicked in as a mom. You will know if something doesn't feel right. Alignment is real.
Yeah.
Like things that you're going through are very normal. And, you know, who am I to say other than like someone who's more than 10 years older than you with like 2 kids behind me, I guess. Sort of.
No, definitely. I love the mom community and just hearing people who have done it before.
Yes, because it's not easy. And there's definitely going to be times where, you know, just like I mentioned, my daughter was with her nanny at the library and she took her first real steps. And, you know, I saw it in video. And then, of course, she's done it many times since yesterday so that we've been able to experience it with her. But it was a hard moment because I was just like, man, am I doing the right thing?
Right. And you don't know. And it's like, you probably won't know for 20 years. That's the thing. No. And I hate this comparison that we as women are subjected to of stay-at-home mom versus working mom. Yeah. I think neither is better. Neither is easier. Both of them are hard as hell. And so whatever you choose to do is what's right for you and your family. Yes. Like I hate when people, you know, try to say like one is better than the other. And it's like, you can be a good mom and you can work, and you could be a good mom and you can stay at home. Yes. Both things can exist. Yes. And it doesn't need to be you're only present if you're actually in the home. Right. No. 24 hours a day.
No, definitely not. And sometimes I feel like even for some people like me, even though yesterday was hard, I know myself. I wouldn't be good at staying home all day. Like my kids are getting more from like being out and going to the park and, you know, doing things that like just aren't my wheelhouse. I'll take them to the park occasionally. I like doing it when it's on my time and like when I can make space for it. But, you know, they're going to school and they're like doing things that they probably wouldn't be doing if I was stay at home. And that doesn't mean that my choices are right or wrong. It just means that like that's what works for me and my family. So there is no right or wrong decision.
I feel like I'm a better mom when I go to work because I'm so excited to get home and see her. And not that I'm not excited all day long, but like she loves our nanny, and the nanny opens the door in the morning and Ava puts her arms right out to her. Like that makes me happy.
That's such a good feeling.
Yeah, like that she's happy. But all that to say, I do have these feelings of like, wait, am I a bad mom that I like to work? You know, it's so weird. It's like, wait, I'm enjoying being at work. Is that bad? But it's not. No. But it's like society sometimes tells you like the only thing, and I think we as women have evolved so much, and luckily we have. Like, I mean, people are chasing careers and then having kids, whereas before, like you got pregnant at 18 years old, you got married, and that's what you did.
That's what you strive for.
Again, nothing's wrong with that. But I think as we like evolve, it's just, it's still all these thoughts and feelings, and I don't know. I don't know how people feel or figure it out, but I'm not there yet. I'm still like
working through it,
filtering all the different emotions.
And it's like, so take the hormone, like the scientific, like aside from it, men just don't feel this kind of pressure. And I know that my husband like misses our kids when he's not around them, and he's an amazing dad and all of the things, but he doesn't have that same kind of like pressure of, you know,
he's not the mom.
He's not like, the mom. And he's not like, am I saying the right thing at work? Am I doing the wrong thing? Do I have to say this differently so that it's not perceived like I don't like my job?
We need to please everyone.
Yes, we need to please everybody. And that's why like your story and why I wanted to have you on so badly makes the most sense to this, because you are truly in a space where men just completely dominate the world in the NFL community, but even in the sports community, reporting community. So I feel like you have a unique perspective in sharing it, because I think that like if you can get through it, right? Someone like you, someone who's in your position can go through these feelings and go through the ups and the downs and the questioning and like truly still like trudge along, right?
Yeah.
And like still do what you're doing. Like anybody can do it. So if you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, like some of these other
trust me, my job is not that important. Like lawyers and doctors and people much smarter and in better places, I'm sure,
that is
deal with
true.
it. But no, I get what you're saying, and I thank you. And it is still funny because we've evolved so much, and I'm not the first woman to have a baby in the NFL, and I thank all the women who have come and paved the way that I can do this. But it's still funny, like a couple weeks ago, one of my coworkers in the office was like, "So you're gonna have another baby?" And I'm like, that is such a wild question to ask a woman, especially like my coworker and a man. I just think once you have a child, like I will never ask anyone that question.
No,
because you just like, I'm not even done breastfeeding yet. Like my hormones have not even regulated. For you to ask me that
is wild.
And also what? So you can plan whether I'm going to be here or not? I'm good. Thanks. Like please don't ask me that.
No, that's why you have babies in your 40s, because nobody wonders if you're going to have another. They're like, no. So,
and I think, not to cut you off, but I think that's the whole point of why I've even began sharing the good and the bad days on social media. And I know I have so many male followers, which we're trying to change that.
Yeah.
Love the men, but it's not for you.
This podcast in my little community, it might not be big, but it's mighty.
Okay, good.
And the whole South Bay community, which is very much involved in this space, they got you. So,
I mean, it's just, I know a lot of people are like, why are you sharing this? Or like, people are like so offended when you talk about like breastfeeding and like, oh my God, you're breastfeeding in public, like all that.
So you're talking about like your vagina or something.
No, literally. I'm like, you eat a hamburger in public. Why can't I feed my child in public? What's weird about that? Anyways, I just, one, I had never seen anyone share it. And those conversations happen and they're so nice. And I think once you become a mom, I don't know if you felt this way, you just have this respect for other moms. And it's like, I see you.
Yes.
Whereas I didn't see, even my sister who's older than me and had 2 kids before I did, I didn't know what she was going through.
I know.
I heard her, but I didn't understand it until I had a kid. And now I'm like, I see you, I get you. And that is what happened once I started sharing my struggles and my happiness on social media, is people reached out and were like, thank you for sharing this. Like I feel seen and I feel inspired and I feel like I can, do this in my career. I never knew what it would be like to have a kid and still want to work. And I think we are stronger as women when we share everything we're going with.
Yes.
And you don't realize how many other people feel similarly. Like I mentioned with breastfeeding, weaning, I posted and I was like, I'm feeling crazy. Like my hormones are crashing. And so many people were like,
that's normal.
That's normal. It'll last 2 to 3 weeks. Like mine lasted a month. You're totally fine. It'll level out. And then it's like, okay, like I'm not crazy. Like I'm gonna be okay. It just feels so much easier when you have other moms there to like bounce ideas off of and ones who have done it, and even just like share a little appreciation of like, you're doing a good job.
Yes.
Because sometimes we don't hear that. And it's like, again, I feel like I'm failing in every avenue. I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good student. I'm not a good, worker. And when you get a little like, hey, you're doing a good job, it's like, okay, thank you.
It gives you like a new like bounce in your step. Like you feel like, okay, I can keep doing this another day. Even if it's like the next day you need the same reassurance. I have noticed in doing this podcast, just creating space for women to really share their stories and share the things that they go through and like deeply, and not just talk about the surface level stuff. And we could spend this entire thing talking about the NFL and what it's like in the NFL. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but and maybe it would get more views or more like whatever. I don't know. But that's not really what is important to this conversation, right? What's important is really showing how somebody can show up in both capacities in the way that you're doing it. So if you need another voice to tell you that you're doing a good job,
thank you.
I don't think so, but I will be that voice.
Thank you.
So you're doing a good job. It's fucking hard.
It's
and
so much harder than I thought.
it's-
But here's the other thing. I like can't tell you how in love I am
Yeah.
with my daughter
I
and being a
know.
mom. And everyone said that, like, oh, it's the love, whatever. The way I'm obsessed with this girl,
I know.
it's the best feeling in the world. I can't describe it. And I love
Yeah.
my husband. We have a great relationship,
Of
but
course.
it's just like this.
It's different.
It's amazing. And I would do these. I would breastfeed through an entire NFL season again for her. Like
If she
I
needed
would,
it, if
I would
like
do
yes.
it all. Like
Yes.
I know that I'm saying it's hard, but like it's so worth it.
Yeah. I mean, we do anything for them, right?
Anything.
There's like literally no boundary to what we would do for our children. And I think men have the same feeling, but it's like a different, like deeper when you are like,
You created them.
you
like,
created them. And even
yeah.
if you didn't, I
Yeah.
always like
Yes,
to
yes,
like
yes.
make sure that there's that like
Yes.
conversation too. Even if you didn't, when you are a mom, when you take on that role, it is just a different level of love and like protection
and responsibility.
and responsibility. And not that I don't feel the same way about my son that I do about my daughter, but it's like even uniquely different when you have a daughter, because I feel like as a woman, it's my job to show her what it's like to show up truly, just to show up,
Yeah.
like period.
yeah.
Show up as like a human, show up as a woman, show up as somebody who wants to create a world that she can excel and do whatever she wants and be whoever she wants and not have to like clarify her statements to
Yeah.
like be in a job and to be a mom at the same time or whatever she wants to be.
Yeah.
Because it's not that our mothers didn't do that for us. They just didn't. That wasn't like what they were doing back then. Like
Yeah.
my mom is a really strong, smart woman. But she, she had babies and she worked too. So I'm not ever like belittling what she does for work or what she did for work. But it was like her priority was to be our mother
Yeah.
and to be like a wife and to do those things. And her job and her career was just kind of like, okay, and I do that too, but like this is like my most important thing. And I'm not saying that that's not ours, right? It's definitely the most important thing that we do and that we probably will ever do is to be a mom. But it's also like equally or like just right under important for us to show them what it's like to have careers and to like follow our dreams and to
Yeah.
make sure that we're continuing to grow and to want things and to know that like once you become a mom, your life doesn't just stop, right? Like
100%.
your dreams don't just stop. The growth that you have or want to have as a human doesn't just stop. And I think that's the difference generationally between like my mom's probably a little older than your mom, but my mom was born in the 50s and she's in her just turned 70.
Okay. Yeah.
So a little older.
Yeah.
She, it's just a different generation and she loves what I'm doing now. She's just like, this is amazing. She listens to every episode. I talk about her like this all the time.
Yeah.
And she just really is so proud of me. And I just hope that someday when our daughters are older and I'm going to be 100 and you're going to be young and like sprightly and you're,
I'll
whatever.
be 95.
Yeah. Sure. She, this is just like the norm and like something that she knows that she can do. And well, like I said, without validation, without qualifying.
Yes. Like she can have the choice. That's all I want.
She can have the choice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we covered this like, and we could talk about being moms and like doing this thing all day and like it can still come up and infiltrate parts of the conversation. But I do want to get into the space of like what it's like to really step into your job every day because I think everybody feels it no matter what sort of industry they're in. Women feel like this. They feel like this need and this desire to like earn their spot and like hold on to it desperately with like scarcity, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything is always one move, one comment, one, away from being ripped out of my hands and taken away from me. And men just they don't think like that. Like their jobs just don't. I know it does sometimes. And so just so we're clear, I know that this is not always exclusively for women, but primarily for women. I think they're just always feeling like that. And so do you literally do you show up every day with that fear, or is it like something that you've, after, so many years, you've been able to kind of work through? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I think it depends on the environment that I'm in. When I go to, so for my job, we cover all 32 teams, and this is just briefly how it works. On Mondays, we get assigned the game for that next Sunday, and we travel everywhere. So I could, even though I live in LA, I could get word, you're going to Cincinnati on Sunday. Okay, well, maybe I'm at practice at the Bengals on Friday, and maybe I don't go there every week, so I'm unfamiliar with their media. So if I'm in the room and there's often more men, sometimes there's more women, and it's again changing, but often when there's more men and I'm in an unfamiliar place with unfamiliar people, and maybe that's my fault because I assume the worst, I get a little timid, that not to speak, but to make sure my question is good and is good enough to be asking and to be taking up the time of everybody else in the room, which I guarantee men never have that thought.
No.
They ask questions, and some of the questions they ask, I'm like, are you kidding me? You could have asked that another time or not ever asked it.
But if you ask that question.
But if I asked that question, I would be crucified.
Yes.
So those instances, and it's mainly when I'm around people that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
When I'm at NFL Network in the studio, I know all my coworkers. I love all them. And I work with so many men in the newsroom. There's 4 different women I can count and 30 different men, I'm comfortable with them, and I know that they believe in me and they have respect for me. So I don't feel that way anymore. Whenever you start a new job, and definitely when I started at NFL Network, I was a little timid because you're going into this space, you're now on national television, and everybody is going to dissect every little thing you say.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I've done to offset that is just make sure I'm the most prepared person in a room. And I'm big on research and studying and preparing and making sure that there's nothing that could kind of trip me up, because I'm always scared that if I'm on set with another man, or not anymore, but when I first started, is he going to ask me something that I don't know?
Right.
And is that going to be so embarrassing? And so just taking the extra step to make sure I know everything, even though people will still say, you know nothing.
Right. And that's not fair. But at the same point, think about it. Not every single man that works in your field knows everything about every NFL player, every stat, every
most of them didn't even play football. So when it's always the argument, you don't know football, you never played, it's neither did you.
Exactly. So I can imagine, or not even just imagine, it's just so frustrating that just because they're men, it's okay, they know everything about football or know everything. I'm just using it because this is, what you do. Any field like that is insane, because there's my husband knows a lot about football, a lot about football. He could probably be a stats person, literally knows everything, but he doesn't know everything. And the expectation and your level of being prepared and feeling like you have to be know everything, it's just such a double standard. You can't possibly know everything, but you feel like you have to, right? Because if someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, well, it's because she's a woman.
Yes.
Whereas if
you're just doing this because the way you look, or you want to get close to the athletes.
Exactly.
Which, all credit to the athletes. I'm good. I tell all my friends, you don't want to date a professional athlete.
No.
But it's just, I also think people forget when this argument of men know more about football than women. If you want a blanket statement, say that. Sure. Okay, I'll let you have that statement. But what men don't do a better job of is being able to dissect a human. Women, we are just natural.
Yes.
We can read someone.
Yes.
We know how to approach a situation.
Yes.
We know how to calmly ask someone a question to dig information out of them.
Get something new. And
much better than men can.
Yes.
The way some of these men go up to these athletes in the locker room and start pestering them with questions, I'm okay, let me teach you a little bit about how you get something out of someone. Have a real relationship with them and be calm and ask them, it's just women if you want to say that men know more about football, then fine. Women are better interviewers.
Women are better at people.
Yeah. Women,
right?
We know how to manage emotions.
Yes, exactly. We know how to read the room. We know how to.
And we are more creative. Like, men listening are going to be like, oh my God, they hate men. I love men. And there's a place in the world for men.
Yes, I do too.
I love supportive men.
Too.
I just think women, there's a space here. And like, why are people so obsessed with getting women out of this space?
Yes. That is exactly right. And I don't even want to, like, I try really hard not to get political at all, but I just saw some video pop up from some like Project 2025 something, and some man was sitting on a podium talking about, and we don't have to get into it because I don't want to like have that be, but he was sitting on a podium talking about how women shouldn't be doctors, women shouldn't be this, which is an extreme, right? Like, I know that that's not the norm, and most men, I hope my gut is telling me the right thing, don't feel like that is the way we should be living. But there are some men who feel like that, of course. And I'm like, why are you so obsessed with keeping us so small?
Because you're threatened.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. And like the offset of that, which is also super frustrating as a woman, is like, why do we let them?
No.
I'm like, why are we letting them? Like, why do we not continue? And I do think it takes, people like you, which I know you say it's like not small, but it's definitely like not a doctor, a lawyer. I don't want to even like hold you small like that. You're stepping into a field and into a space that a lot of women would be extremely intimidated to do. I definitely couldn't do it, not because I know nothing about football other than what my husband makes me learn throughout watching the season. I feel like I want to learn because I have to watch it every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, and now it's on Saturdays.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's the best reality show on TV, I say.
Every single day I feel like it's on.
Yeah.
It's not even that. It's still for someone like me who is like strong and dominant, and I feel like I have a bold like sense or a bold way about me. I feel like that would be really intimidating. I've been in careers where I have been the only woman in the room. I have been, had to be the most prominent voice in the space as a woman. But in that field, I feel like, I don't know, like that takes somebody with a lot of gumption. I've been using that word instead of balls because I don't like that word in this. I'm like, that's gumption. Yeah. Like a lot of oomph. Like it takes something. I don't know what it is, but
yeah. And I think it's just, thank you for saying that. Sometimes I like forget that it is such a like place where, I don't know, there are so many men and opinions, and sometimes I'm scrolling online and someone's making a comment or like there's a blog post and I'm like, wait, what? You guys care about what I say that much? Like I forget, right? Because it just becomes the day to day. But I think where I've gotten the confidence or like the idea that I can do this is all the strong, successful women who came before me. Like my grandmother was a badass, and both my grandmother and my nana, like badass women. And like they never in my household was it a thought that you can't do something because you're a woman. It was like, oh, you're going to do this because you're a woman and you're going to do it better than all these men. And I think that, and also having like, my dad is so supportive. My husband is so supportive. That's a huge thing. I dated guys coming up in this industry that felt threatened by this and would make me feel small and wouldn't support me, and they'd feel insecure. You're going into the locker room. Oh my God, you're seeing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing naked butts. That's disgusting. You think that is like gonna be the reason why I leave you because I saw this big ass in the locker room? Like,
no
these players smell. Like I'm in and out of there as fast as I can.
And we love them. We love them.
Love them. Yes.
Most of them. But
I'm not interested in them.
We don't need to see your butt.
And so my husband now is like, he could care less who I'm with. Like, and he's so supportive.
Yeah. And I love that. And it makes sense that you ended up with somebody who would allow you that space, I can't believe I just said that, who would also be in a partnership with you that is acceptable and that like that kind of thing works, right? Because of your upbringing and like the parents and the grandparents and whatnot that you had. A lot of people or some people don't have that. And that's why we end up in these like weird cycles of choosing situations where that isn't okay.
Yeah.
The other added pressure in your field, I can imagine, is like we have to talk about your looks probably more than any man would have to talk about their looks. And I sit, and my husband tries really hard to find a balance to be like, he'll say something about a woman because it's in their nature. I'm like, you are a good human and like an amazing man and all of these things. You still say stupid shit like that. And I'm like, it just like drives me crazy. And then he'll look at like, he'll be like, but that man, like he shouldn't be wearing that color suit. I'm like, you just said that because you wanted to find the balance. I appreciate the attempt, but why do we have to dissect a woman's look? Like, what if you just wanted to show up on camera one day with frizzy hair and no makeup? It just would never happen. It would never happen because the only thing that people would talk about or focus on, or what if you like, okay, let's not say frizzy hair and no makeup, but like if you didn't go all glam and, you know, you just kind of like wore your hair the way that you would if you were like going to a play date or something. Or out to dinner with your husband even, like just a normal, natural looking day. You just would never be able to do that because it would be the only thing that people talk about.
Oh, this is a hard one. And especially like this just brings up feelings that I had when I was pregnant because it was so hard to be pregnant. I tried to hide it as long as I could, which again, why do I feel like I need to hide it? Like that's another thing we could go into. But I just felt like everyone was staring at me. On the sideline, in the locker room, on TV.
Like weight. I'm like, I'm supposed to gain weight. I'm
but
pregnant.
Then when I'm pregnant, it was like, I feel like people are judging me for being pregnant and are like, why is she here? She's pregnant. I don't know. And this is my own insecurities, right? But I just think.
But they don't come from nothing.
Like when I was in local news, I had a news director pull up pictures of how she wanted my haircut. And I remember, oh my God, there was this one story that I did. I don't even remember. This is bad. I know I journaled about this because it really stuck out to me. Well, even just going back before this, because I speaking of journaling, when I was in Virginia, my first job out of college, I remember I'm from Boston. There is a station or a sports place in Boston that I dreamed to work at as a little girl. I grew up a huge Red Sox fan. I'm one of three girls.
Where are you from in Boston?
I'm from Holliston. It's near Framingham, Milford, Hopkinton.
Well, you know, I'm from Canton.
Yes, exactly. Which, oh my God, we need to talk about okay. Anyways, so my dad and I, it was our thing. Like people are always like, how'd you get into sports? He would have sports hype radio on WEEI, and I just had to learn it. We'd go to Red Sox games. Like it was our thing. I was the youngest of three girls. I was like his sports person, whatever. My sisters were into sports too. But so there was this place that I dreamed to work at. Okay. And I remember when I was fresh out of college working in Charlottesville, I was going home for some holiday and I reached out to this place and I was like, hey, I'd love to meet you. And the guy responded and was like, yeah, come on in. Like this will be, you know, like I'd love to meet you. I was, oh my God, I'm like gonna start crying. Maybe it's the hormones. I don't know why I'm emotional over this.
Please.
I was so excited. I went there, I met with this guy and he literally pulled up my reel, which is like a resume tape of like all your best clips. And he went through it in front of me and like paused it and was like, see here, like you look like a little girl. And you know how Justin Bieber is like a little boy and Tom Brady is a man? I need you to be Tom Brady. I need you to be looking at the camera. You know, like when you want something from your dad and you like put on that face, like, please dad, I need you to look at the camera and do that for every hit. Like we don't need Justin Bieber. We need Tom Brady. We need Bridget as a woman, all this stuff. And I was like, what the
How old were you?
hell? I was fresh out of college, so I was probably 22, 23 years old. And the worst thing is I stood up and he is like walking me out of his office. He put his arm on he put his hand on my arm, like my bicep, and was like, and make yourself look good. Work out a little. I left there crying. I called my dad. Like I still like get so emotional about it because, you know, I was the only one in my graduating class to land an on-air job. So like I felt good about myself. Like it is so hard and competitive in this industry.
Know.
And I get this meeting with this guy of this place that I really wanted to work. And I'm thinking he's going to be like, hey, oh my God. The other thing he said was, this is like 10 years ago. So this is just coming back to me. He was like, I know that you know your stuff, but that's second. I want someone to be flipping the channel and they stop because of what you look like, not because what you know. And I was just like so frustrated because I'd worked so hard to be so smart and so intelligent and like prove on my resume tape that I knew what I was talking about. And he literally just told me that doesn't matter. What the heck? Like, what am I doing? And so I was crushed. And like to this day, I literally will never do anything with that place in Boston. But like it took me a while to like come out of that. And then the reason why I brought this up is my news director in Raleigh, when she was showing me the pictures of like how she wanted my hairstyle. I remember I covered, I think it was like breaking news at one of the big colleges, and it was like an incredible live shot. And I remember feeling so proud of what I did. Actually, you know what it was? It was Tiger Woods playing in the PGA tournament. And I like interviewed him, and he gave a glove to like a special needs kid. Like it was this awesome story. It went viral. I was so proud of it because I love like sharing those human interest stories. And the only thing my news director said to me was, I liked your hair in the ponytail. And I remember again being like, I just did this incredible, moving, touching story. And
these are all men.
You could, this was a woman.
Sometimes
the women are worse.
I know that.
And I was like, all you can say to me is you liked the ponytail. And oh my God, sorry. I know we don't have a lot of time. I was just rambling, but like those are real things that happen. And I would, again, maybe they happen to men, but it's just so frustrating to know that no matter how hard I work, how good of an interviewer I am, how much I study, the first thing anyone's going to judge me on is the way I look. And especially being postpartum, going back to work, I gained 60 pounds in pregnancy.
It's fucking hard, man.
No, like, and I worked out, like, I don't understand. Like, that's a whole other conversation. But like, I'm still 10 pounds more than what I'm comfortable at, like what I normally am. And like every day I'm like, okay, what can I wear to kind of hide this? And like, it's just like, you're not just going back to work, you're going back on TV where you feel already like insecure, whether you're not pregnant or postpartum. So hopefully one day it changes, but like it is definitely a huge part and something I struggle with every day.
Well, I really appreciate you being so vulnerable about that, because there's a couple of listeners that I can imagine are listening, like someone who wants to be you someday. I have a lot of like younger, I was saying some of my friends' daughters are starting to follow who are like in their high school years or like early college years, or not even quite, maybe they're in middle school still. And like seeing that you still have insecurities about it, I hope shows them that like it's okay. You still do it though, right? Like you still show up. But what is one thing you would say to someone like that to kind of like, just like the one big thing that you say to yourself every single day to get you past that hump of like, man, I have to do this again. I have to get through these insecurities again. It's another day of doing this, of like the mental work of putting myself on camera, putting myself together, being prepared, being in this position. What's the one thing that you would say that you like tell yourself to get you past that hump?
I think you're more than what you are on the outside. And I've been trying, and I don't know if you feel this responsibility having a daughter, is I have been trying to reframe the way I talk about myself. Yeah. And especially I'll notice me saying something to my husband, like, oh my God, I feel so fat today. And she's there. And yes, she's only one. She maybe is not understanding that, but I never want her to hear me talk about myself in that way. Yeah. Not that I can't be improving myself, like you can always grow, but I don't want it to be because of my physical appearance. Yes. I want her to hear me say, I want to get stronger, and you know, I'm training to get stronger, not to lose weight, and I'm eating to fulfill myself with healthy foods, not to diet, you know,
so and that I think, can be here for you longer. Like, and
I think that I would tell younger girls and men coming up is just want to be a better version of yourself for you and nobody else, and understand that like we're always improving and you don't have to look a certain way to get a certain job. And I think we're seeing that with some of these sports influencers who will come on and say, I never got a job on TV because of the way I look, but they're producing incredible content. Yeah. And I think as we evolve as a society, more and more people of various different looks, like you're seeing Black women finally express themselves with their hair, which they never were allowed to do that before. And thankfully we're getting into that space. But I think I would just say, like, try not to be so hard on yourself, and like understand that you're worth more than what your physical appearance is.
Why do we care? I'm telling you, I don't care what the guy like walking down the street is wearing. I don't hardly
like
ever
these men,
notice.
do we see what they wear?
Yeah, no.
They have like their toes out. It's
No.
gross.
I think I saw you do something. It made
When we're flying and people have their toes out,
it made me
that's a sin.
laugh so hard. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you
that was a
posted
while
about
ago.
that, and I was like, oh my God. Every single time now I look and I'm like, I always have socks on. I'm like,
please put your dogs away. Here I am being critical as I'm saying, don't be critical.
I know. We don't need to see your toes though.
No, but like the toes, come on.
Yeah, we don't need to see your
gross.
toes.
At least
There's
get a pedicure before,
yeah.
and like shave your hair.
Yeah.
Gross.
On that note, one thing we always ask about, you know, like in a world that's constantly telling women to be less, to be smaller, to be quieter, this podcast, this platform, these stories that I'm sharing, it's really meant to be a space for women to know that like not only can they live a big life, they can even like take it a step further. So like, what is that next thing? So like you've already done so much, you've already achieved so much. Like the one thing that you might not have shared, it's the first thing that popped into your head right now. Is there anything that you're like, I want to do that? I've never said it out loud and it feels kind of crazy. I've had people be like, I want to write a romance novel and they're not doing that at all.
Yeah.
So it's like anything coming up for you right now. It could be nothing and that's okay.
No, like I always said, I want to write a book one day and like share all these stories. I'm just like, who would care? You know?
Many.
So like maybe one day.
Many.
That's all. And I think too, just like really my sole purpose now that I'm a mom is like giving her a world where she has no doubts, no insecurities, I don't want her to question herself ever. Like,
just because she's a girl.
Yeah. And like,
right?
because of the way she looks or the way she thinks or anything, like I want to, and I take so much pride in having the ability to raise a young mind. And I want her to grow up being able to walk into any room without fear. And to me, that means like more than anything else.
Well, I mean, this is...
I could go all night.
I know.
This has been so nice. It's kind of like therapy.
So could I. Thanks for listening to A Splash More. If you like this episode, make sure you like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, and let us know if there's any topics you want us to cover in the future. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.